Life in the United States often conjures images of fast-paced cities, sprawling suburbs, and a culture that celebrates individual freedom. But beyond the iconic Hollywood sign and high-rise skylines, there's a deep curiosity about what truly happens behind the scenes. Why is America called the richest country in the West? And why does a simple piece of paper, a green card, carry so much weight? Prepare to dive into a place of immense promise, endless opportunity, and undeniable complexity. Hey everyone, this is Lucas from Unmasked Planet, your friendly guide to exploring all the fascinating corners of our extraordinary world. Welcome to another revealing episode. Before we get started, drop this motivational phrase in the comments. My future is limitless. That's your personal pledge to chase your dreams, no matter where you are. Now, let's pull back the curtain on the real America and discover why a green card can mean everything. When we think about the United States, we often think of the classic notion of the American dream, an idea that has traveled the globe for decades. From Ellis Island in the early 1900s to modern-day airports filled with hopeful newcomers, the U.S. has always signified a land where opportunities abound, where you can reinvent yourself, no matter your background. And to this day, that notion continues to fuel countless people who yearn for a chance to thrive in what some call the greatest economic powerhouse in the Western world. But there's a twist. While it's incredibly easy to romanticize life here, the U.S. is also a land of contrasts. You can witness inspiring displays of wealth and possibility in one zip code, then drive a short distance and see communities grappling with poverty, facing the pressures of a high cost of living or struggling to obtain quality healthcare. It's a place where the cost of a single college education can skyrocket to prices that seem mind-boggling to the rest of the world, and where the notion of making it might come with an enormous price tag, both literally and figuratively. Top region. The heart of all these complexities is the green card. Officially known as a permanent resident card, it's essentially a legal key that opens doors in America. Without it, life in the U.S. can be filled with constraints. It's the difference between living under the radar and being able to work freely, buy a home, and build a future. Even though it's often glorified, many people don't realize the significant challenges one might face along the winding path to secure this coveted piece of plastic. But what does daily life look like once you have that green card? For many, it means job opportunities that pay better than in their home countries, access to major cities bursting with innovation and creativity, and a sense of social and economic mobility that's rarely matched elsewhere. The dream is real. From the IT worker in Silicon Valley to the filmmaker in Los Angeles, there's no shortage of stories about success born out of hustle and grit. On the flip side, there's also a reality check. Even if you manage to obtain a green card, the U.S. isn't an automatic paradise. Many immigrants start from scratch, taking up multiple part-time jobs, commuting long hours in aging cars, and trying to learn the ins and outs of a system that can be overwhelming. Taxes, insurance, and a highly individualistic society can make everyday tasks feel more complicated than expected. Culture shock isn't just about language. It's about adjusting to a new set of unspoken social rules and attitudes. At times, it can be thrilling. Other times, it can be disheartening. Think about it. In a country that prides itself on independence and personal liberty, you're largely on your own for things like health insurance, paid leave, or affordable education, unless your job provides benefits. But that's a big if. Many people find themselves locked into certain career paths strictly because they need health coverage, or they end up with staggering debt from unexpected medical bills. That's one of the peculiar paradoxes of the richest country in the West. Wealth and opportunity exist, but navigating those waters requires planning, perseverance, and a bit of luck. One moment, you might feel a surge of optimism, perhaps from the pure sense of possibility that permeates American society. The next moment, you might feel the sting of isolation or the stress of a system that doesn't always catch you when you fall. From renters' rights to the job market, from personal freedom to social safety nets, the United States offers a blend of progress and pitfalls that can baffle the most well-prepared newcomer. By the end of this video, I want to shed light on these nuances, so you can see beyond the glossy Hollywood portrayal. The richest country in the West might be brimming with entrepreneurial spirit, venture capital, and groundbreaking technology. But it can also be a place where mental health struggles are widespread, where finding genuine community might feel challenging, and where the pace of life can lead to burnout if you're not careful. So, why do people still flock here by the millions? And what is it about that elusive green card that keeps hopes alive, generation after generation? Throughout this video, we're going to explore these questions and more. Stick around, because as we move forward, we'll uncover the layers of everyday life, investigate the quirks of American culture, and tackle head-on the big, burning questions about living in the US. Let your curiosity roam free, and let your mind stay open. Having laid the groundwork, let's dive deeper into the day-to-day realities that define life in the United States. First off, you'll hear a common refrain. Everything is big here. From grocery stores to highways, from fast food sodas to new housing developments, there's a certain expansiveness to life in the US that leaves many newcomers wide-eyed. This is partly due to America's cultural emphasis on choice and convenience. Drive-through pharmacies, 24-hour diners, and mega retailers are designed to deliver goods and services quickly and with minimal hassle. Yet, the flip side to such abundance is a constant demand for resources, energy, water, space, and an ever-present pressure to keep up with the consumer-driven machine. The American lifestyle can appear lavish, but it can also trap you in a cycle of work and spending. In many metropolitan areas, housing costs can be astronomical, forcing people to spend a substantial portion of their income on rent or mortgages. The concept of keeping up with the Joneses is no joke. It's ingrained in the social fabric, driving people to buy bigger cars, bigger homes, and the latest tech. Now, let's talk about something that often surprises newcomers: the credit-based financial system. If you want to rent a nice apartment, buy a car, or even land certain jobs, your credit score suddenly becomes crucial. This little 3-digit number can open doors or slam them shut. Building good credit means paying your bills on time and not overextending yourself. Simple enough in theory, but tricky in practice if you're new to the country and trying to establish financial credibility. And if you're carrying student loans or medical debt, your financial balance can become precarious. Medical insurance is another big piece of the puzzle. In some countries, healthcare is a universal right. In the US, it's often tied to employment. Without employer-sponsored insurance, you might face monthly premiums that can rival a mortgage payment. Alternatively, you can roll the dice and go uninsured, which can be financially devastating if something goes wrong. Even those with coverage sometimes find themselves battling hidden costs and deductibles. This kind of stress is a major wake-up call for many immigrants and visitors. Next, up is the job market. The range of opportunities is vast. Silicon Valley for tech enthusiasts, New York for finance and media gurus, Los Angeles for entertainment dreamers, Houston for energy sector professionals, and so on. With the right skills and perseverance, you can ascend the corporate ladder or strike out on your own as an entrepreneur. The US remains a hotbed for innovation, but that doesn't mean success is guaranteed. A competitive spirit pervades many workplaces, and job security isn't always certain. Layoffs can happen without much warning, and contract or freelance gigs are more and more common. It can be exhilarating to ride these waves of opportunity, but it also demands resilience. Culture shock also appears in subtler ways. Americans are typically known for their friendliness, striking up small talk in an elevator or offering a cheery "How are you?" to strangers. This can feel refreshing, or it can feel superficial, depending on your perspective. Traditional social structures like community events or tight-knit neighborhoods can vary drastically from one region to another, making it a challenge to form deep connections if you're not actively seeking them out. And in a country the size of a continent, local cultures differ wildly. New England is worlds away from the Southwest, and the Pacific Northwest is nothing like the Deep South. Then there's the debate around personal freedom. Yes, the US celebrates individuality and choice, but that also means states are free to enact their own laws on critical issues, from gun control to environmental regulations. Moving from one state to another can feel like crossing into a new country altogether. You might find yourself enthralled by the diversity of ideas and lifestyles, or you might find it confusing and conflicting. When it comes to assimilation, many immigrants quickly learn about the importance of networking. Whether it's professional, groups, cultural associations, religious communities, or alumni networks, who you know can significantly impact your opportunities. Americans often place a high value on personal branding, so having a concise, compelling elevator pitch about your skills and background can make a big difference in opening doors. Understanding these undercurrents is crucial if you're planning to move to or even just visit the United States. It's not just about having a passport or a visa, it's about grasping the socio-economic and cultural framework that shapes everyday life. That's how you navigate the richest country in the West, where the pursuit of happiness is inalienable, right? But the path to finding it can be bewildering. Let's step it up a notch and explore some of the more complex elements that shape the American experience. First, consider the concept of the hustle. In many parts of the US, you'll hear the phrase rise and grind or no days off. Americans are notorious for their work ethic, often juggling multiple jobs or side projects to stay financially ahead. This can be thrilling if you're someone who thrives on productivity and thrives under pressure. But it also has a dark side: burnout. Mental health professionals increasingly warn about the toll of constant work, citing high stress levels, depression, and anxiety. As you layer on additional complexities, such as being a first-generation immigrant, this pressure can multiply. There's a strong cultural narrative around self-reliance, about pulling yourself up by your bootstraps. While this can inspire remarkable success stories, it can also leave people feeling isolated when they do need help. Social stigmas around mental health, poverty, or even just needing a break can sometimes discourage people from seeking the assistance they need. The rise of online mental health platforms has helped, but the costs can still be prohibitive for those without comprehensive insurance. Another subject worth examining is the electoral and political landscape. With two dominant political parties, Democrats and Republicans, the US sometimes feels deeply polarized. Political discourse finds its way into everyday life, from dinner table conversations to workplace chatter. Understanding the intricacies of US politics is almost a prerequisite for navigating topics like healthcare reform, immigration policy, and social services. For newcomers, the system can be perplexing, especially since each state also has its own rules on everything from taxes to legalization of certain substances, and then there's the question of access to higher education. The US boasts some of the world's top universities: Harvard, Stanford, MIT, and countless other renowned institutions. However, the cost of attending these schools can be astronomical. Student loan debt is a looming crisis, surpassing $1.7 trillion nationally. This burden can shape life choices for years or decades. Which jobs you can take, where you can live, and when, or if, you can afford to buy a home or start a family. Scholarships and financial aid exist, but they often don't cover the full scope of expenses, especially for international students who don't qualify for certain federal loans. Culturally, you'll also see a strong emphasis on self-expression. People are encouraged to be their authentic selves, whether that's in how they dress, the music they listen to, or the beliefs they champion. In big cities, you'll find festivals and parades celebrating every imaginable identity and subculture. This sense of freedom can be liberating, but it can also overwhelm individuals who come from more collective societies. Balancing your native cultural identity with the American drive for uniqueness can be both enlightening and disorienting. For entertainment and media, the US continues to export its culture globally through movies, TV shows, music, and social media content. However, living in America reveals the difference between scripted fantasy and everyday reality. Hollywood's version of high school, for instance, doesn't always match the average student's experience. Sports, especially American football, basketball, and baseball hold a significant place in popular culture, but you might be surprised to discover how regional loyalty to a specific team can create strong community bonds or rivalries. One of the most striking aspects, and perhaps least understood from an outsider's perspective, is the relationship Americans have with their laws and constitution. Gun rights, free speech, religious freedom, these aren't just buzzwords. They're passionately defended principles that can lead to intense debates. Understanding the historical and cultural context behind them is essential if you plan to truly integrate. Many immigrants and foreigners find these topics challenging, especially if they come from nations with stricter gun control or more limits on free speech. Bridging these cultural gaps requires empathy, open-mindedness, and a willingness to learn about the historical tapestry that underpins American society. All these layers underscore the complexity of living in the U.S. It's a country that offers staggering wealth and success, but also demands a lot from those who seek to partake in its opportunities. Immigrants chase the American dream, often sacrificing the security of home and the comfort of the familiar. The green card symbolizes a milestone in that journey, granting more stability and legal rights, but it doesn't automatically guarantee happiness or prosperity. Just like any powerful tool, it comes down to how you wield it. Now that we've explored the cultural, economic, and social fabric of the United States at various depths, let's circle back to the big questions. What does it truly mean to live in the richest country in the West? And why is the green card so coveted? If you recall at the beginning, we raised the issue of contrasts. On one hand, the US has a GDP that dwarfs many other nations. Its impact on global culture, technology, and finance is unmatched. But when you peel back the layers, you find significant income inequality, regions struggling with underfunded infrastructure and social services that might not match the expectations of those coming from countries with robust welfare systems. This duality is essential to understanding modern America. For those who do get their hands on a green card, it can feel like winning a golden ticket. You're no longer on a temporary visa that could expire or be revoked. You gain the right to work in almost any industry and live in almost any state. You can build a life without constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering if you'll be forced to leave. Over time, you can even apply for citizenship, which brings voting rights and a deepened sense of belonging. However, the day-to-day, reality doesn't always align with the fanfare of receiving the green card. You still have to find a job that pays the bills, secure housing in areas with good schools if you have children, and manage the complexities of the healthcare system. You have to adapt to a world where personal and professional lives blend, where success is often measured by long working hours, and where social circles might be hard to penetrate at first. Your first winter in a cold climate, or your first summer in a sweltering region can also be a shock if you've never experienced such extremes. The emotional toll shouldn't be overlooked either. Building a new life in a foreign country can be exciting and stressful at the same time. You might miss family and friends left behind, or traditions and holidays that are deeply ingrained in your upbringing. Navigating feelings of homesickness can be particularly tough, especially when American holidays roll around. Thanksgiving, 4th of July, or Christmas, and you see everyone else gathering with extended families. Nevertheless, countless immigrants manage to carve out fulfilling lives. They start small businesses, launch tech startups, become community leaders, or simply find satisfaction in a stable career and a comfortable home. They send their kids to good schools, join local clubs, and invest in retirement plans. Over time, some come to call America home just as naturally as the place they were born. For others, it remains a temporary chapter, a place to gain work experience or save money before returning to their native country. The point is, there isn't a single blueprint for the American dream. It's personal and fluid, shaped by individual goals and circumstances. In reflecting on our journey through these 4 blocks, introduction, development, advanced exploration, and now this closure, we see a tapestry of highs and lows, promises and pitfalls. America can be your launchpad to success or an unforgiving land that tests your resilience. It all depends on your approach, your support network, and your adaptability. So, is America truly like this? It depends on whom you ask. For one person, it might represent endless possibilities and a sense of liberation from restrictive norms elsewhere. For another, it might be a source of anxiety, an environment where you feel like you're constantly sprinting on a treadmill you can't step off. Both interpretations can be valid, and both can occur within the same person at different stages of their journey. Ultimately, the idea that you need a green card to live here is partially about legality and partially about the sense of security. Yes, you can visit on a tourist visa or work temporarily on specialized visas, But for those who envision a long-term life in the US, the green card is a dream, and at times, a necessity. It grants rights and freedoms that allow you to plant roots, but it's also a pivotal step in a grander quest for personal fulfillment. The stakes are high because the potential rewards and challenges are equally monumental. We've reached the end of our deep dive into life in the United States, this enormous, diverse, and sometimes contradictory landscape that continues to captivate the world's imagination. We've explored the need for a green card, the allure of economic opportunity, and the complexities that lurk behind the glossy postcard images. I hope this exploration has sparked your curiosity, challenged your assumptions, and offered you a clearer sense of what the American experience can really entail. If you found this video enlightening, be sure to hit that subscribe button and become a full-fledged member of the Unmasked Planet community. Also, take a moment to share one thing about American culture or the green card process that surprised you most, or that resonates with your own experiences. Jump into the comments and write, "I'm ready to explore new horizons." Not only does this let me know you stuck around until the end, but it also helps foster a vibrant conversation where we can learn from each other. And if you're eager to keep the momentum going, check out the video recommended on your screen right now. We delve deeper into the surprising realities of living abroad, covering topics you won't want to miss. Thank you for spending your time with me, Lucas, here at Unmasked Planet. Your presence is what makes this channel thrive, and I can't wait to bring you even more content that opens eyes, inspires action, and encourages global curiosity. So, until next time, stay adventurous, keep asking questions, and never stop seeking the truths that lay just beneath the surface. After all, this planet has so many hidden stories, and we're here to reveal them together. Safe travels on your journey, wherever it may take you. And remember, sometimes the richest discoveries aren't just about crossing borders, but also about pushing your own mental and emotional boundaries. Take care, and I'll see you in the next video.